What are poetry elements? Poetry can tell a story, describe situations, or appeal to the senses. Line break is a structure element of a poem. Line breaks break up a line into shorter lines to slow the reader down and draw attention to important words or ideas. Let us read this short section or stanza of this poem in the spring. Pause. The path is shaded. Pause by tall bushes. Stanza is another structure element. A stanza is a group of lines within a poem. You can see this example poem has 2 stanzas. Let's now talk about the literary devices used for elements in a poem. Authors can use rhyming words as an element. Rhyming words are words with the same ending sounds at the end of lines or stanzas. Let's look at this example poem. It is a nose. It is a rose. It is a plum. It is a drum. Notice how the first 2 lines end with os and the last 2 lines end with The author used rhyming words to create this poem. Let's now talk about the literary devices used for elements in a poem. Authors can use rhythm as an element. Rhythm is a pattern of stressed syllables that create a beat rhythm. Poems often sound like a song. Round and round the chestnut tree. The badger chased the weasel. They ran and had great fun. Pop, goes the weasel. This author used rhythm to create his poem, and it sounds like a song. Let's now talk about the literary devices used for elements in a poem. Authors can use imagery as an element. The use of imagery is using words that create images that appeal to the senses. We have 5 senses: smell, hearing, taste, sight, and touch. Let us look at this example of an imagery poem stanza. Crispy, crunchy, fluffy snow, happy snowman in a row. Freezing, frosted, bright red nose, frozen, wet, stinging toes. This author used imagery to create this poem. Note the author used your hearing sense when he used the word crunchy, and your sight sense when he used the word bright, and your touch sense when he used the word fluffy. Let's now talk about the literary devices used for elements in a poem. Authors can use alliteration as an element. Alliteration is the same sound or letter at the beginning of words or lines. Let's look at this example of an alliteration poem. Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers. Note the author used almost all words that start with P. Let's now talk about the literary devices used for elements in a poem. Authors can use onomatopoeia as an element. Onomatopoeia is a word that imitates the sound it represents, like buzz and thud. Look at our onomatopoeia poem below. The TV goes boom. The dryer goes whiz. Baby goes wah. The phone goes ring ring. See how the author uses words that describe the sound that the object or person is making, such as the phone goes ring ring. Ring is the sound a phone makes. Let's now talk about the literary devices used for elements in a poem. Authors can use repetition as an element. Repetition are lines or words that are repeated to stress importance. Below is a repetition poem. Hello spring purple, pink, blue, and green. Hello spring, your colors make my spirit sing. The author used the same line, hello spring. Hello spring throughout this poem to stress that the author is speaking about spring and is excited about spring. Now that we know all the elements of poetry, we can create our own poems using all the different elements we learned today. What do you think of my new poem? Teaching is fun. Students are great. I'm glad that I'm done so I won't be late. What element of poetry did I use to create this poem?